These are stories of outdoor adventure and expert advice from folks with calloused hands. I'm James Nash, and this is the Six Ranch Podcast. This episode of the Six Ranch Podcast is brought to you by Defend Security Cameras. The cigar is perfect right now. This is the first time I've ever recorded a podcast in a cigar bar in Cabo.
Well, I'm glad I'm able to pop your cherry with that. I was hoping it was going to be something else in the water, but...
Dude, you told me something yesterday that has continued to stick with me, and I've only known you for a few days, but we're friends now, and you're stuck with me. You were talking about doing a deeper drop. You wanted to, we're out here spearfishing, and you wanted to do a deeper drop, almost in a sense of like things weren't going quite the way you wanted to with a couple situations, and like that sense of accomplishment was going to be your way out. And I just said, well, let me know before you do it so that I can like really keep an eye on you in case something happens. And you said, if I die like this, that's how I want to go because I've lived 10 lifetimes.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that is an understatement, if anything.
An understatement in the sense of the lives that I lived or the lives that I still have to live.
Well, that's the thing that we don't know about, right? None of us knows how much time we have left.
No.
We have our perception of memory for what we've done. We don't know how much is left. And I think you and I share a similar perspective in that we say yes to opportunities so that we can maximize that time.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And for me, I've got to be proud of the things I've accomplished in life and what got me here. But also in the same sense, be humble about it and understand like this can all go real quick. And the only thing that's left are the stories and the ways I taught my kids and made my family proud.
Yeah.
And also embarrassed my family on the way as well.
Well, I mean, that's just part of being a dad.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I think a lot of folks have heard of the River Pig Saloon. They know that Ramzy Hattar is the guy behind that. I had every intention of coming to Mexico to record this podcast about spearfishing. And the more I've gotten to know you, the more I've realized that like that's not the thing that I want to talk about. Although you are starting a spearfishing charter here, it has everything it needs to be something incredibly special in the world. But I want to hear the Ramzy story. Where does it start?
Well, it starts with my upbringing. It starts with my family. It starts with everything that is inside me that pushes me every day and pushed me through life. I'm an out-of-the-box type of guy, and that comes from just adapting in different environments, being first-generation American, growing up in the Bay Area,
Were you born in the States?
I was.
Yeah.
I was born in the States.
And how did your family come to be here?
So both my parents grew up in Jordan. They, their parents lost their homes in Bethlehem many, many years ago, and they grew up in Jordan with their big families, both sets of parents. And following the Civil War, my mom's family was given asylum to America.
As Palestinian Christians?
Yes, exactly, as Palestinian, Jordanian Christians.
Yeah.
And then my father and parts of his family slowly moved over as well. And my parents got married, and they had me and my sister in the Bay Area, and so we were blessed to be raised. I've got a huge family still in the Middle East, in Jordan, and I'm so blessed to be able to be one of the few that was raised in America and got the education I had and the opportunities that I have to be here, and that's how I'm able to enjoy all this. So I can never turn my back on that, even though this world is a different world now than it was then.
I feel like you learned the love of food from your mother.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
With the culture too. I mean, our culture is all about food. It's all about hosting. It's all about feeding, and everything is around food. It's a way you show love in our culture.
Yeah. You've got 20 acres, and your security camera can see about 50 feet from your Wi-Fi router. Your gate, your barn, your equipment, all the places you actually need to monitor, they're exactly where your Wi-Fi doesn't reach. That's where Defend security cameras make a lot of sense. They work on cellular, just like your phone. But here's what's clever. They've got an embedded SIM card that automatically connects to the best network in your area. Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. It finds whatever's strongest. No choosing providers, no contracts, no hassle. I'm using Defend cameras at my place. You mount it, open the Defend app on your phone, and you're done. 10 minutes. Clear footage, night vision, instant alerts, and here's something you need to know. Defend doesn't sell your data. Not to China, not to tech companies, not to anyone. They work for you, period. Defend your place. In the best of cultures, that is how you show love.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? Like, what's a better way to do it?
I totally agree.
Then how do you transfer something like that as wholesome and organic as like the love shared through food and family and that connection and the culture that comes behind it to entrepreneurship, like turning that into the businesses that have an incredible reputation for failure, and somehow yours have succeeded wildly.
Well, I wouldn't say succeeded wildly, but I've been successful. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. There's still a long ways to go. I mean, I appreciate that, but it comes from watching my family do it. It comes from the way that I've been programmed in my head as well. You know, it's natural for us to host. It's natural for us to invite people into our homes. Like that's just what we do as a culture. So carrying that on is easy for me because it's natural. It's authentic. I'm not forcing anything, and that's what I love. So for me, even though I got a college education, I worked in the tech industry for a while, providing secure comms to the federal government and NATO and United Nations, and I came back. I came back to the service industry, to food and beverage, because it's what I love, and so the drive to make my businesses successful, you know, I have to attribute that to just not giving up the fight. You know, I think a lot of people give up way too easy. They're embarrassed, their egos get in the way. I've got a big ego as well, but I'll tell you one thing, my ego pushes me to try and be better, pushes me not to lose. I hate losing more than I like winning.
Dude, I am the same way. And I think that there's just a lot to be said for that, right? And I've heard this from hockey players probably more than any other sport, is that they don't love to win, they hate to lose. And that drives me personally. And I'm in my world of producing food, right? Whether that is through hunting or fishing or agriculture, losing has this old sense of failure that means that if I don't bring back food, if I'm not able to raise a crop, then me and my family and my tribe are going to starve to death. Like that, I feel like that is, you know, the feeling that I have, and that's countered by when I do make a good dive and shoot a fish and fight him to the surface and kill him and put him on ice and get him home, or it's an elk, or it's a bear, or it's a beet from my garden. The sense of success that I get from that is the opposite. Like, that means that me and my family and my tribe, we get to survive. We get to make it through another season because I succeeded at this thing. And that, while that feels good, it's really difficult to compare that feeling of success with that fear of loss.
Well, it's because you expect that of yourself. I expect to do that. That's my job. That's what I'm here to do. I'm supposed to do those things. And when I can't do them, I'm failing. And that's why I hate that feeling a lot more. Like, I see all my success as something I'm supposed to do. I'm a first generation American. I've got the opportunities my family didn't have. My parents made it. They came to America and they fucking grinded and they made it.
And had lost everything and had nothing.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Nothing at all. My dad was working hostess. You know, that type of drive, and then seeing the hours my mom puts in, and my mom's a beast. Like she ran marathons. She took on the whole American. Like she doesn't even go back to the middle. She loves it here. She golfs. I mean, she's in her 70s. She golfs every day. Like she's embraced it.
She sounds like such a legend, dude. I want to meet her.
You will. She's a beast.
Yeah.
She even helps me in my restaurants now. Like she always has to stay busy. I mean, the reason why I'm so healthy and I work so hard in the gym to try and stay fit is seeing my mom, you know, learning from my mom and how she was an aerobic instructor. She cut hair. She did everything.
Yeah. Just hustling.
Hustle.
And now you've got multiple businesses, including restaurants, including gyms, including spearfishing, including other stuff, multiple states, multiple countries. So now there's this leadership component to it where it's not just business management, but also leadership, where you have to take these values that your parents brought here, right, after losing everything in Bethlehem, after having to start over in the States, those values and those skills, you like that was what they were able to bring, right? Those are the things that couldn't be taken from them, that couldn't be bulldozed. And I guess my question is, how do you transfer that to your employees, to your managers, to the people who have to carry your vision forward in these different things? Because if I put a spearfishing charter, a restaurant, a bar, a gym all on the table, like these seem like wildly different categories, but these concepts, these core values that you're talking about, transfer between all of them. But how do you get your employees, how do you get your people to carry that vision forward?
Well, I'm still learning how to transfer that over to my management and to my team, to my business partners, because every person is different. Every upbringing is different. So what motivates you doesn't motivate someone else. And I'm learning that with my kids too. My problem, I think what held me back a lot through this process is expecting everyone to see it the way I see it, expecting everyone to think the way I think and manage things the way I manage, and that's wrong. That's completely wrong, because
well, how could they without having your life experience?
Yeah, and not saying that I'm doing it the right way either.
Right.
Learning from them as well, because it's a different world, and especially in Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
I've got different types of people that I've got to push and get the most out of, and get them to understand me and trust me and appreciate me and follow me. And that's very challenging, but also very rewarding.
So, you know, one of your places is, or two of them maybe, is located in the Pearl District, which was just the belly of the beast during COVID. What was it like trying to run a restaurant there during that time?
You want me to be honest?
Yeah, I do.
It was a fucking shit show. But at the same time,
I mean, the whole country would know that, right?
Yeah, like, that's true.
I live, 6 hours away from Portland, and I had people from the East Coast seeing this stuff on TV and calling and asking if I was all right. And like, yeah, I'm fine, but those folks over there are not.
It was a shit show. It was an absolute shit show, and I learned a lot about myself and my staff and my team and my kids. I learned that adapting and not procrastinating and doing what I thought was right would prevail. Mm-hmm. And because I adapted, because I continued to find ways to stay open, continued to find ways to keep my businesses alive and keep jobs open for my staff, I gained a huge amount of support from the silent majority, because all we see and hear are these radicals on both sides. Yeah. But there's a silent majority, and that's us, the normal people. And I was able to win that over because they saw what I was doing and they followed and they supported it. And so my businesses actually came out of COVID with stronger brands, despite all the cancel culture, because they tried canceling the fuck out of me. a few different times, for all kinds of different reasons, just for trying to stay open, for trying to keep my businesses open during COVID. And so, yeah, but in the end, it was all worth it. It always is.
Yeah.
If you do what you think is right, it's always worth it.
And it's crazy to look back at that time, I think, for a lot of people, because none of us really knew what was going on. I've been surprised that nobody who can look back and say, yeah, we're wrong about some of this stuff. I'm not hearing apologies or like admissions
I'm glad you said
of
that.
wrongness from anybody.
Nobody.
And that's wild to me. I really like to be wrong because it's such an opportunity for growth. Of course, it doesn't feel good. I'd prefer to be right, but there's very little opportunity for growth in being right. There's very little opportunity for growth in winning. But losing, like, I can remember most of the wrestling matches that I lost. I remember very few that I won, right? And I don't know. But, you know, having people say that by you trying to keep a business open, that you are complicit in homicide, that you're trying to kill people, we can look back and say that patently wasn't true. And I feel like you were owed an apology. You were owed an admission of wrongness from the people who were saying that.
I agree, but I can't expect that from them.
And what would it change, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be nice. It'd be nice to hear it. But at the same time, I can't expect that. It's not going to change what I do now. It's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
I know I was right. And I think the silent majority know that I was right. And you look at other states within the nation, within the country, that were handling things differently. They know they were right. And so there's a track record there that's all I need to know.
What was the closest you came, not just during COVID, but kind of throughout your entrepreneurial career, to wanting to quit and just bail on it and be like, this isn't working. I've made the wrong decision. I'm gonna punch out of this and start over with something else.
I don't think I ever had those thoughts cross my mind. I've had thoughts of selling my brands and my businesses and just focusing on the other things that I love doing. I've thought about that. I've started expanding my businesses to other states to try and limit the liabilities of Oregon and the policies in Portland. But at the end of the day, Portland is still home.
Yeah.
I love Oregon. I love what Oregon offers. I love like the outdoors. I love how beautiful the city is, and the track that the city was on before this shit show started 6 years ago or whatever. It's a beautiful place, and it's a great place to raise kids if you choose the right avenues to raise them.
I talk about that a lot, and I'm very proud to be an Oregonian. At the same time, I can be embarrassed about some of our policies.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? And that's okay. You can be both.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to say, okay, I'm embarrassed by the decision that, you know, this policymaker made, that this politician made, so now I'm embarrassed to be from here. Like, no. Like, what I am, I'm proud of because it was hard to build, and I couldn't have done it the same in another place. If I'd grown up in Ohio, I would be a different person. And I think that's one of the reasons that one of the first questions I ever ask anybody is where they're from. Because if I was from somewhere else, I would be a different person. My identity is inextractable from my home. It's part of the same thing. So it's nice. It's nice to hear that we have that in common as well.
Yeah.
When did you first go spearfishing?
Well, at first, I went spearfishing. I was living in Germany just after college, and my wife's family is from Greece. So we spent a lot of time with her family in Greece, and they all spearfish. They all free dove spearfish. So I love fishing. I've always loved fishing my whole life growing up. My dad used to take me fishing. I love it. That's my peace. That's my church. And so when I got a chance to learn spearfishing in Greece with her family, I was all in. It took me a while. I get really frustrated when I'm not good at something. And that shit pushed me. It took me a while to like learn to equalize. And I mean, I was bleeding out of my ears, bleeding out of my nose. I just kept pushing and pushing. It was painful. I'm sure, I don't know if you had the same experience learning, but it was brutal in the beginning.
It's still hard. I think one of the things about it is spearfishing, I think, will be equally hard my entire career. I first started in high school in irrigation ditches in Wallowa County. I built my first spear gun in high school shop class, and I was literally swimming in ditches trying to shoot fish. It hasn't been until the last several years that I started getting the opportunity to go with professionals and getting professional training and seeking out more and more professional training every single year and working really, really hard at it. I mean, I've spearfished on 3 continents this year. That's hard to do. Yes, it's an incredible opportunity, but it's very hard to make that effort so that I can learn from more people in more places and keep trying. And I'll never make it to the bottom of the ocean, right? You can always go deeper. You can always hold your breath for longer.
That's what she said.
I just watched a woman set a static record at almost 10 minutes of a breath hold. Almost 10 minutes, right? We can do amazing things as humans, and spearfishing and freediving show us that. And it is the most sustainable way to fish. It is the most selective way to fish. There is no bycatch. We're selecting not only the species but the individual. And has never been a species in the world, in the history of the world, that has gone extinct because of spearfishing, and there never will.
No, never.
Jacques Cousteau famously said that if you had to live off spearfishing, that you would starve to death, because it is a very difficult thing to do, and because of that, incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, and the fear too.
Yeah.
I mean, no matter what, I'm still scared every time I'm in the water, and that pushes me. I love that fear, that rush, and conquering that fear. Yeah. And for my kids too, it's great to see them conquer that fear, because obviously they didn't, seeing their dad in the water doing it remove some of the fear from them. They're like, oh, it'll be fine if my dad's there.
Yeah.
But seeing them, you saw Z dive with us, 20 years old, and he's been diving since he was 13, and he's gotten better and better every year. But that fear is still there, and pushing through that makes you a better man.
Yeah.
I think we need to raise more men like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And spearfishing is a good anvil to create that metal. One of my favorite moments of this trip was when Pharaoh's kids got in the water. Pharaoh Brown, NFL tight end for those who don't know, super sweet guy. His little kids were down here on the trip. How old are they?
They're 3 and 6.
3 and 6. Okay. Cute little kids, good kids. So, they're wearing like Spider-Man and Pokemon shorts, and they're all wild, and they've got these little gangster attitudes. They're a riot. And your son Z had shot this gorgeous Spanish mackerel yesterday, and I was taking some pictures of it. And pretty soon I see these bright little blobs of fury swimming over by themselves at age 3 and 6, out in blue water. We've been seeing sharks and all this stuff, and they're swimming over, and Z's showing them how to hold the fish, and they're touching it and learning about it and starting to build that connection between life and death and food and adventure. And after the trip, the younger brother was riding back with us, and I said, that was really courageous of you to get in the water and swim out there. Were you scared? And he had the best little brother answer. He goes, I wasn't, but my brother was.
Yeah. He said that because his brother was in the other car.
Exactly. That was a great moment.
Yeah, straight face too. He believed it.
Yeah. So funny. So funny.
What a little monster that dude is.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of great moments. I shot my biggest mahi-mahi ever, Dorado, I guess we should probably call him, since we're down here in Mexico.
Yeah.
But having gotten the opportunity to travel and spearfish all over the world, there is something very special about Cabo that I want people to understand who are getting into spearfishing and want to learn, or they've been in it for a while and they maybe want a spearfishing destination. What I've found unique about this is it's really easy to travel here, right? There's lots of flights in here from everywhere. So that travel piece is very easy. They've seen lots of spear guns come through the airport. They know the drill. What's wild to me is how close the access is to big fish.
Yeah.
Like, you might have to only go 15 minutes from the marina and you can see shore, like real close. And you are in, sure enough, big fish. Mm-hmm. That is unique of all the places that I've ever been. And the diving conditions here are good. I think that this is a really slept on opportunity for people to travel to. A lot of folks see Florida, they see the Bahamas. Bahamas is significantly harder to travel to. You're not allowed to use spear guns there. You have to use pole spears. Still a great opportunity there. California, fairly tough. You're going to have some longer runs to get into bigger fish for sure. Colder water, scarier sharks. This is probably the easiest opportunity for somebody to get into big fish with a spear gun.
At all levels, too.
At all levels.
At all levels.
Yeah.
You can have beginners diving with experts in the same water going after the different fish or the same fish. It is real special. And there's something to be said about learning to dive in warm water as well. It makes it so much easier.
Yeah.
Your body's at peace. You don't have a thick wetsuit choking you. You learn to dive a lot easier, more natural. There's nothing like this. For me, this is primo diving water.
Yeah, there's two schools of thought on this, and I think that they're both correct, even though they're at odds with each other. One school of thought is if you can learn how to dive in cold, murky water, then you can absolutely crush warm, clear water. And that's true. But it is way easier to learn in warm, clear water. So I think, like, if I were to recommend to people, and I do recommend this to people all the time, like, hey, go learn in warm, clear water, and then go learn more in cold, murky water. And when you come back to warm and clear, you're going to be an animal. Mm-hmm. You're unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like, if you can hit 10 meters when it's cold, you're going to be able to hit 20 when it's warm. And not that you need to. Like, there are so many fish at 30, 40 feet. That's really all you need to have, like, a great life in spearfishing. But if your thing is to continue pushing and go harder and go deeper, it's here for you. And that fear component, yesterday I got scared because I wasn't seeing fish, and we'd been in the water for a long time, and there's a thermocline. And for folks who don't know what a thermocline is, this is where temperatures in water change, and there's currents in the ocean that run like a river, but there's also typically a thermocline where if you drop down, you'll hit a layer that's really murky and it gets colder, and oftentimes you can punch through that and get into clear water again, and it'll continue to be colder, but that's oftentimes where a lot of the fish are is at or below the thermocline. Well, the thermocline yesterday was set up at 29 feet. And I'd been dropping down into it. I couldn't see once I was in it. It was really murky. We'd seen some sharks like murky water, and I was just staying above it. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to punch through this thing. How deep could it be? And I ended up going 58 feet and was not hitting the bottom of it. And it was murky enough I couldn't see the end of my spear gun. And at 58 feet, I still had gas in the tank to keep going, but I got scared.
Yeah.
And I was like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Nobody can see me. I can barely see myself.
You don't know what you're going to see when you punch through.
No. And, fear got the better of me, and I turned around and headed back to some sweet, clean air.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll try again.
Yeah, I did it a couple times. You saw me. I did it a couple times, and I saw the bottom and I saw how strong the current was,
Yeah.
and that freaked me out.
It was cranking.
I was like, "Oh shit! No wonder these fish seem like they're flying by us."
Yeah. They were just staying.
They were staying still,
They were trying
holding
to
their
stay
ground.
over their spot, over their piece of rock,
Yeah.
and we were just flying past them. And stuff like that is still really hard for me to comprehend, even though I understand the physics behind ocean currents. It still doesn't really make sense to me that you can have a river inside of an ocean.
Yeah,
Yeah, but we were in it.
yeah,
We were in it big time.
Yeah, and that push, that challenge is what makes it so exciting and so great. It's hard for me to fish with rod and reel after spearfishing.
Yeah.
I still do it. I still enjoy it.
all.
Yeah,
I love it all.
Yeah,
Yeah. But I love spearfishing most of all.
by far.
So more water sports. I want to talk about the origin story of the name River Pig because I didn't know it, and I think it's really cool. And I want to talk about how that history, makes its way all the way back to Eastern Oregon and North Idaho, where I'm from.
Yeah, it makes its way all the way through the states, through the Midwest is where it really originated. But I did some research when I was opening up River Pig Saloon. I was a partner in a couple other restaurants before River Pig Saloon. But I wanted a sports bar. I wanted like a Cheers, a pub. When I played rugby overseas, we always hung out at a pub, and that's what I wanted. That's me. That's more me and who I am. And so I also wanted this pub to be old school, have some blue collar ties to it, because Portland was known and is known as like a soft kind of hipster town. And so I did a bunch of research because Portland wasn't always that way. That timber industry had some tough dudes in it, and a great history, cool history. The River Pigs happened to be the lumberjacks that got paid more than all the lumberjacks because they had the most dangerous job, and they would drive the logs down the river. So Burnside's the main street that separates Portland, Oregon. So east of Burnside is East Portland, west of Burnside is West Portland. And the River Pigs used to drive the logs or push the logs down Burnside to the Willamette River, and then they would drive the logs down the Willamette River to the sawmills. So they had real tough jobs, and they would do it through the winter, summer, all the time. And they loved their beer, and they loved their woman. And so it resonated with me and tied into my love for fishing as well. The River Pig, that's a pig,
Yeah.
We catch a salmon in the river, you catch a steelhead in the river, that's a pig. And so it meant a lot to me. So it resonated. And a lot of people told me no woman is going to go to a bar named River Pig Saloon in Portland. I was like, all right, well, we'll find out. I'll find ways to try and make it attractive to women too. So I built it the way that I wanted it to be, and it worked out. It panned out, and it stands out because of it.
Yeah, pretty cool. In Wallowa County and a lot of other places, we did what's called splash dam logging. And these lumberjacks would be out in the woods all winter long. They'd be cutting trees and then getting them down to the banks of these rivers. And they'd brand the logs with whatever their brand was to identify that was their log. And there'd be lots of logging crews out there doing it. And they built temporary dams, and they would hold back water in these tight gorges in these mountain canyons. And then in the springtime, when they'd cut all their logs and they had them all stacked and ricked up down there on the edges of the river, they would bust these dams loose all at once. And it would flood those river bottoms and carry all the logs out all the way down to Lewiston, Idaho. And you had logs coming from the mountains of northeast Oregon, from the mountains of north central Idaho, all of them coming down to Lewiston, where people would be moving them along as they went, the River Pigs, and they'd be out there riding these long logs in the middle of the river, using a pike pole, which is like a spear with a rope on the back of it that guys could spear these logs and get them unjammed and keep them moving. And then when they got to Lewiston, they would get identified by the brand that was on the log, and that's how these guys got paid, was by the number of logs that made it down there to those big mills. Really incredible history, and and very dangerous work where a lot of men died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that brings us back too on the love for Oregon and the respect for Oregon. You know, the timber industry put Oregon on the map. And then in the recent years, it was food and beverage. You know, everyone knew Portland, Oregon, and Oregon was where you went for cutting edge, great food, great drinks, cool environments for restaurants and bars. We were thriving. Food and beverage was thriving in Portland, and it was known internationally. And it's a shame to see that Portland turned their backs on that, and the state of Oregon has turned their backs on what put them on the map, and built this beautiful city.
Yeah, I see this mistake happen with businesses and brands. Oftentimes, is they forget where they came from, and they abandon the people that made them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a real shame, because if you remember them and you continue to respect them, even if now they're the minority of your clientele, they'll still be there for you when you stumble. But if you abandon them, they won't.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
And the reason why our restaurants and bars thrived and were so good and are so good is because we have all we need within the state in terms of great cattle, great produce, everything, and a good quality of life we used to have a great quality of life too for the restaurant industry and the staffing and labor. So it was a huge attraction.
Yeah, and we're known for our beer. We're known for our wine.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Oregon Trail because of the state's ability to produce food.
Exactly.
Like the westward expansion, people initially went to California for gold. They went to Oregon because of our soil, because of our climate, because of what we can produce, and that's still intact, and we're still doing it. Like, we have incredible beef. We grow the best hay on the planet. We have great pork, our produce, our grapes, our hazelnuts. Like, Oregon does it, and they're the folks who are out there working really hard, who oftentimes are incredibly underrepresented, and unfortunately are no longer what the rest of the world thinks of when they think of Oregon. But they're still there. You can't see them from the road.
Yeah, it's very true.
Yeah. Tell me about Kachka, because that was one of the best restaurants in the country.
Yeah,
that's an incredible. How many freaking restaurants are in America? That's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah, it still is one of the best restaurants in America, and I got to give all that credit to my partners in Kachka, the Russian restaurant, cutting edge, like another one that went against the grain. Who thinks about Russian food when they want to go out to eat? But I met Israel and Bonnie Morales through one of my other restaurants, and Israel was amazing. He had a Michelin star for front of house service when he was living in Chicago, and his wife was a great chef, and she built her entire menu off of family recipes from Russia, where they're from. And I fell in love with it. I studied Russian. I minored in Russian language in college at the University of Oregon.
Yeah, how many languages do you speak?
I can't really say I speak Russian anymore. I don't practice it. I wish I did. But I grew up speaking Arabic and English, and I speak Greek. I lived in Germany for a while, so I speak a little bit of German. I've lost a lot of that, and Russian, and lost a lot of that.
Yeah, and you're fairly handy with Spanish too.
I get around a little bit. I fake a lot of it, but yeah.
That's how languages are learned. Like you pick up the swear words and you build off that.
I agree. I fake a lot of things.
I mean, that's just trying with what you've got. Mm-hmm. Oftentimes,
it's surviving.
Yeah,
it's adapting.
Yeah, like it's kind of like the mechanic who's working on this engine right now. That is not a mechanic shop, right? That dude wishes he has the tools, right?
Yeah.
But he's rebuilding an engine with scrap tools. His workbench is the back of like a Subaru looking thing.
Yeah, and for those that don't know, I just picked up disused boat, and I've got 2 Yamahas on it, and one of them, day one, blew out on us. We knew there was an issue with it, but we didn't know how bad, and it blew out on us, and so I had to rebuild the whole engine. And my captain out here had access to some local mechanics, and he's getting it done.
The engine hoist is a come along in a tree, yeah. right next to a horse paddock.
It's a wild scene.
Awesome.
It's a cool setting,
but
for sure.
Like rebuilding an engine in an environment like that is like trying to communicate in a language when you've only got a few words. Mm-hmm. Like you use the words that you know, and you try to build off that. That's how it is. You get really creative with language when you're trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Did you have to build engines with the tanks you worked on?
We did. And we did a lot of like engine and transmission replacements. But if the tank isn't running a lot, then you end up with sometimes like 10 hours of maintenance for every hour of use. If you're using it a lot, then that goes down.
Yeah.
Then it might be 10 hours of use for 1 hour of maintenance. But maintenance is a constant thing. And, you know, my mechanics in Afghanistan, they were heroes, right? They're up whatever the hours are trying to get this thing ready as soon as possible, because you never know when you're going to need it again. So like everything is an emergency constantly. And dude, my mechanics were perpetually covered in grease, covered in hydraulic fluid, covered in oil. They hadn't had a haircut for like 4 weeks. Their clothes are hanging off of them, and nobody said anything to my mechanics. Like, he gets to live however he wants to live. He's keeping that vehicle alive with nothing. Like, we were fixing cracked transmissions with JB Weld. You know, like whatever we had to do, we were going to do it.
Yeah.
And it's not like there's an auto zone in Afghanistan that has a bunch of M1A1 Abrams main battle tank parts.
Yeah. There's some experts out there now, though.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah. Dude, I go back on Google Earth from time to time and look at my old battlefields and look at my old bases and see what's going on. And for a while, I could see the Taliban in them from updated Google Earth images, and they'd taken over everything that we'd left behind when we left Afghanistan, which was pretty heartbreaking. But now when I go back and look, the desert's taken it over.
Really?
Yeah, it's just dissolving into the terrain. It's going to be a geological find for aliens in the future that they'll have to figure out.
You believe in aliens, huh?
Man, the universe is so big. The universe is so big that I think there's for sure other life out there, but it's also so spread out that it's pretty hard for me to believe that the Earth is unique enough, special enough to be worth coming to.
Yeah, I think I stand the same with that.
Yeah. People forget that a light year is a unit of distance, not a unit of time, right? You can't go a light year in a year unless you're light.
Yeah.
We can't go 1% of light speed. So, yeah, trying to travel these incredible distances would require changing space-time the way we know it, and would also require, you know, a species that could live for an incredible amount of time and be vaguely interested.
Yeah, what would be the motivation?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty advanced tourism.
Yeah, I agree.
To want to spend hundreds of thousands or millions or billions of years to come check out Earth and be like, oh, let's drop down here and abduct a logger.
Who knows what they'll get here?
I don't know.
They'll bring the wrong specimen back and not know what the hell to think of us.
Right? Yeah. No kidding.
God, we need more men punched in the mouth growing up to. We're not going to get into that.
Yeah, you could. It's it's kind of a formative experience to get punched, and I think you kind of learn a lot about yourself and the decisions that you made that led you to that situation, and maybe how to avoid it in the future, because it's pretty uncomfortable.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
It is, and how you react afterwards is telling.
Yeah, very.
But
Very.
people learn real quick, though.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with our society right now is they haven't learned that lesson. So we got keyboard warriors. We got people saying whatever they want, disrespecting constantly because there's no fear of getting any repercussions. There's no fear of getting smacked in the mouth.
And I like that people can say whatever they want. I like that. But I do think that it's important to act all the time the way that you would act with somebody in person. So don't type something that you wouldn't say to me.
Exactly.
Right. And this is a better way to communicate. And I'm not going to hit you for you saying something to me because I'm pretty confident in myself and my position, and I just don't want to do that to somebody.
Yeah, I might.
But like, just let's just be respectful and be humble. And if you feel differently about something than I do, there's a good chance that I'm wrong and you're right.
Yeah,
let's talk about it.
Yeah.
There's also another chance that you're wrong and I'm right, or somewhere in between. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
But just be respectful. And I would love to see people get back to a point where they communicate online as in the same way that they would communicate in person.
I agree.
Yeah. That's my advice. That's my guidance to the typers of the world.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
And for those politicians that are all gung-ho on their policies and the things they do, live by it.
Yeah, be consistent. We've talked about consistency a few times, and I think that's probably another thing that you really strive for in business is consistency.
Very much.
Why is that important to you?
Oh, on so many levels. I mean, consistency. A customer, a patron has an experience. It's all about experiences. They have an experience at your business. They expect that each time they go. And it's our job to be the same, provide that same experience every time they enter one of my businesses. Great service, good service. I mean, we have our off days, but the effort, communication, front of house, your job is communication, customer service. That's what you're paid on. That's how you're viewed. That's how you're judged. So perform the best you can each time. And in my industry, every day is a new day. For every regular customer we have come through, we have just as many new customers. And you have an opportunity to build a relationship and build a great experience for those new customers. And that's what keeps us alive moving forward. We have to keep winning over new business, new patrons, new support.
If somebody wants to have that experience and see what it is that you're talking about, that is the difference between all these restaurants that have succeeded in an industry where restaurants tend to fail in the first 3 years, right? Where do they go to find a Papi Chulo's or a River Pig or one of your myriad other businesses?
Well, I've got a couple businesses in Central Oregon and Bend. I've got Bend, Oregon, and then I've got most of them in Portland, Oregon, where I call home. And then I started expanding into Dallas, Texas. And they're all so different. The demographics so different.
Yeah.
The marketing so different. The business is so different. But at the end of the day, it's all the same output. It's all the same customer service. It's all around creating experiences.
Okay, so they can go to a River Pig in Dallas or Bend or Portland. Papi Chulo's in
Bend or Portland.
What else?
B-Saws is like a brunch spot. It's one of the oldest restaurants in Portland, Oregon. And I actually took it over 5 years ago during COVID. The previous owner was struggling through COVID and some health problems, and she reached out to me, and I didn't want to see that brand go away, and she didn't either.
Well, folks, if you go, write a review on the restaurant and mention this podcast and let us know if we're completely full of crap or not.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah,
please
be honest. I want to hear it.
Yeah, yeah. And if it's a good review, you might get a gift card. If it's a bad review, fuck you.
I love it. I love it. Well, once the kinks get worked out in this spearfishing operation down here, I'm excited to see how that culture transfers to something that's still service industry related, but instead of people getting served ingredients, they're going to be going out and finding their own.
Yeah.
And then taking it to a restaurant, and then the restaurant's going to, dude, the mahi that we took to, the mahi that I shot that we took to the restaurant,
yep,
they made 8 distinct dishes out of that and fed 10 big people,
yep,
until we could not eat anymore.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
It was so fun. It's great. I mean, that's
I want people to have that experience.
Yeah, and they'll have that experience if they come out here. I mean, I've got one of the best spearfishing guides who's a local here running the boat for me, and he's a good dude. He busts his ass. He's really frustrated as well right now because we're having the boat troubles, the engine troubles.
Man, but boats are dramatic. They be like that.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I just expect, I want everything now.
Yeah.
I'm very impatient with things.
Well, it's going to happen. It's going to come together. You've got the ingredients. You've got the place. You've got the people.
And we've got all the resources here too.
Dude, absolutely. I'm excited to see what it looks like. I want to thank you truly so much for inviting me to come down here and for getting to dive with you. It's been awesome.
I'm glad I invited you. I'm glad you chose to come down here and trust me. And it's only gonna get better. We're gonna have some epic trips coming up. You and I.
Heck yeah.
Anywhere, everywhere, not just here. I mean,
I'm excited.
I love diving with you, man.
It's fun. It's fun.
It is fun.
We got some good stuff coming up. All right, folks. That's it for this one. Thank you so much for listening. And go support this guy. He's working hard to give you an opportunity to just to have some enjoyment, whether that's a meal or a drink or a trip or getting healthier through one of the gyms. He's gonna take care of you. So are his people. So encourage you to do that, and hope everybody's doing well. Please get outside when you can and enjoy your lives. Thank you, Ramzy.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on this, James.
You bet. Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Thank you to everyone who has taken the time out of their busy lives to write a review for the show and share it with their friends. I'm extremely proud of how intelligent, engaged, and adventurous this audience is. Original music for the Six Ranch podcast is written and performed by Justin Hay. Art for the Six Ranch podcast was created by John Chatelain and digitized by Celia Harlander. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you again next week.